Welcome to day 5 of Blockvember. Today we are going over and releasing the fear of success and failure. So the truth I want to talk about, the truth about fear is that there are actually 3 types of fear. We have innate fear, learned fear, and phobias. So a lot of people feel like their fear is innate when we're really only born with 2 innate fears across all cultures and backgrounds. You can Google this, you can look this up. This is actually the TikTok video that made me go viral. And everyone was just like, you're being ableist, literally learned this in Psych 101. I don't, how am I being ableist? By telling you that the fear doesn't belong to you. It's actually not in your body. It's not in you. Even though there is now studies where you can inherit fear, but still, it's not a natural part of you. Your fear it's a good thing. Your fear can be removed, and fear is learned and can be inherited through the generations, which means that it can be released. I thought everyone would be really happy and excited about this, but it was very interesting, the response that video receives. But let's get into fear of success and failure, because I like to stick to my lane with working with entrepreneurs. I'm not a therapist and I'm not a coach. I'm a hypnotherapist that works with the subconscious mind to help you take control of your subconscious mind and take back your power. So most fear is learned, which means that it can be unlearned. Good news, right? And in this training, we'll examine and release your fear of failure and success. So, good question to ask yourself is, are you afraid of success? It's well documented that many people fail to achieve their goals in life due to the phenomenon known as fear of failure. But are you aware that a major factor is often overlooked, which is fear of success? Fear of failure can lead many people to just feeling stuck, and they're not able to make these decisions or take action. And so they receive, just in case they receive rejection or they have negative outcomes. So this is very easy to identify, but a lot of people overlook the fear of success. And I found that a lot of my clients, who are high performers, actually have a fear of success. So and it's a little harder to release than the fear of failure. So let's look at and review signs of the fear of success. So, number 1, you study and try to implement different self-improvement or self-development techniques. You follow all these people and try to use their techniques, but your life doesn't improve, and sometimes it even gets worse. You often settle for less than you deserve and what you're capable of achieving. And you start new projects full of hope and enthusiasm, but soon your efforts wane or stop short before you actually completed them. You always expect things to go wrong no matter what, even if the situation appears to be going well at the moment. Oops. So, can you identify your own patterns in any of the above statements? Okay, if you can, don't worry. I will go over the steps to release this. But let's get into fear of failure. So, fear of failure can alter every choice that we make. This fear can actually be fear can be helpful. Fear can show you like there's danger, but some of us aren't not able to use fear of failure as motivation to do our best work. It actually makes us make the worst decision to our success and keeps us from seeing opportunities versus obstacles. So Yes, fear can sometimes be motivating for some people, but for a lot of people, it isn't. So that's why it's important that we release it. Don't sit in it. So that's why we have this 9-step plan to overcome your fear of failure and success in business. So, 1, just realize that fear is an essential part of the process. Okay? Just realize it. You're very lucky if you figure out the right way to do something the first time. We will always have fear come up when we're trying something new. We are human. And you also need to understand that progress isn't actually a ladder. It's a series of events on your timeline that bring you closer to your ideal future, which includes specific goals. So these events can be considered failures, but what if you reframed what failure means to you? Failure is actually feedback, data, so you can continue on with the journey towards success. So it's really important, because if you think about the things you truly want, then the reasons why you won't go for them, it always leads back to your fears. So you are the one that's keeping yourself from the things that you want. And we often just change our plans altogether to find an alternative that feels safer. We settle. Your fear makes you settle into a life that in business that doesn't make you happy. Isn't it worth the risk if you end up truly happy? If you end up having the things and the business that you really want? By settling, you're just limiting your results and just end up feeling regret. No one on their deathbed ever says, darn, I wish I didn't take the risk. They always say, damn, I wish I did. So short-term failure is much more common. So now anytime you set a big goal, expect failures to be part of the process. It's not a sign that you should stop. It's a sign that you need to keep improving your process until you're successful. Change what failure means. So 2, also understand that failure is temporary. A single failure isn't a permanent condition. Failure is just like a rainy day. Sunny days always show up again. 3, shift your values and motivation. With the right motivation, fear isn't an issue. Shift your motivation from running away from something to running towards your goals. Because if you're running away from something, you're eventually going to get tired. But if you're running towards something that you really want, you'll always have the motivation and you'll always find the energy. 4, don't take it personally. Failing only means that your approach wasn't the best option at the time. It doesn't say anything about you as a person or your skills as a business owner or coach or even healer. I tried so many different things before I was able to really get my clients the results, the level of results that I wanted to get them, to help them win Grammys, to help them win lead roles, TV series, to help them get millions of dollars in startup funding, to help them hit 8 figures. It took me a while of testing to get to this level. But a lot of people that I did my certifications with stopped. And now they're looking at me and they're like, oh, I should have kept going. Truly successful entrepreneurs fail quite often. Making the wrong decision doesn't mean that you failed as a person. Also, this isn't my first business. Because of the business experience that I had, where I learned some tough lessons, I was able to take that information, that data, and apply it to my practice. And so that's why my practice grew so quickly because I failed already. I failed already. So now it's time to succeed. A lot of people just started their healing practice. It's their first or second business. And so of course they're not going to hit the ground running like I did because I already have the data. I didn't stop creating businesses and opportunities. I kept going. 5, you need to focus on now. You can't worry if your mind isn't living in the future, already thinking about how everything's going to fall apart. It's only when you project a negative outcome that you really become anxious. Reality is happening right now. So the future isn't set in stone and it can change at any time based on what you do now. What you do now. Every movie about time travel, it always goes back to the present. Like someone does something right now that changes the trajectory of everything. Right now is the indicator of your future. So don't worry about things going wrong. Focus on making things go right now. And so this is what helps both fear of failure and fear of success, because you're focusing on the present and you're appreciating the actual process. And you're not worrying about things going wrong, and you're not worrying about losing what you'll lose in order to get what you want. So for example, I have a client that's trying to hit their first 7 figures, and someone that they know that his 7 figures ended up getting a divorce. And he's looking like, I don't want to divorce my wife. I love her. Okay. Why are you already thinking of that option? The 7 figures has nothing to do with your marriage or your wife. You don't have to lose your wife to get 7 figures. And so it's very interesting. So they were thinking about this alternative future. So now that you saw this person's situation, what you could do focus now is, hey, I'm going to focus on my business. You can learn from that person's mistakes, actually. So you can not just focus 100% on your business, but you also feed your relationship as well. You know that's a possibility. So focus on now making it not a possibility by loving your wife, by showing her attention, and also being happy and telling her about your business, including her even. Seeing someone's mistakes or thinking about the future should give you insight onto what you should be doing now to change it. If you're going to think about the future, imagine success. Imagine your wife being there, spending all the money that you just made. At this very second, you're okay, and you'll be okay in the next second too. Six, lean into fear. Your life isn't in danger, so being afraid is a sign that you're doing something new. So you need to keep this in mind. Your conscious mind is a creature of habit. So when you're trying to up level, it will send a message to your subconscious that it's a threat. When this happens, just take a deep breath with your hand over your heart and ask yourself, is this the best thing for me? Your heart will guide you in the right direction. 7, minimize fear by taking action. The people that are most afraid tend to be the most paralyzed, but they did not start out that way. You weren't born afraid of the things that you fear today. But by giving into fear, you teach your brain that fear is an effective way to control your behavior. And it will continue to ratchet up that fear because it knows it works. So ignoring fear and taking action actually has the opposite effect. You teach yourself that fear doesn't impact your behavior. And in time, the amount of fear that you feel will decrease. So this way, when you really are in danger, you can act quickly because you have never felt this high level of fear before. Like now you know this is serious. Now you're not worried about little things, but you can focus on bigger things, because people think that if they don't pay attention to the small things, they'll ignore the bigger things. No, that actually messes up your fear guidance system. So now when you ignore the little things, you'll be able to really pay attention to the big things. Like, when someone in the group is never afraid, but then they are afraid, everyone in the group actually pays attention. They're like, whoa, she is never scared. So we really need to pay attention and go. It's that Chicken Little. 8, visualize everything working out. Close your eyes and take 6 deep breaths. Imagine a day in the future, about a week after your project, your launch is completed successfully or you've overcome it. Now embody that energy. 9, change the meaning of failure. This is the final step. Failure might give you a small sting, but the feedback that you gain is invaluable. A few small improvements are often enough to turn a failure into a success. Look for the lesson and apply it to your next attempt. Dealing with the fear of failure is something everyone faces. So don't allow it to limit your life and success in business. With risk comes rewards, especially for entrepreneurs. Remember that fear is self-created. We're only born with 2 natural fears, and everything else is learned, and means it can be unlearned. And so the next steps for you is to reprogram your beliefs with affirmations. You can also use subliminals. The business resilience subliminal set is the perfect one for fear. And then there's also Master Your Fears self-hypnosis system. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.